Welcome back to Get Blueshelled podcast episode 54. This is a big one. Welcome back. I am here with Mike and Ryan.
Woo.
Same as always. And we have a lot to talk about today, so I think we're just going to dive right into it. We all have opinions. One thing I just want to bring up beforehand, obviously there's some heated contention in the community about pricing and stuff like that. I just want to make it clear that, we all have our own opinions. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Obviously, me, Mike, and Ryan's my cousin. Mike's a very good friend of mine. So even though we may slightly disagree on a couple of things, it's all in good fun. And, I think we're all genuinely upset that things have gotten expensive. So even though we might slightly disagree on a couple of things, we are here to talk about it and to hear each other's opinions out. So it's going to be a happy, healthy discussion. There's going to be no drama. I just want to nix that in the butt. I know you guys know that that's for the viewers. Well, if you talk to the community, a lot of people are storming Nintendo's headquarters right now. Or I guess, yeah, Nintendo's headquarters. I was going to say TPCI, but I'm like, wait, actually, Pokemon's getting positive reception here, so that's new.
Yeah, honestly, Game Freak came out of this maybe the best, honestly.
And that's bad. That's bad. Oh, wait, hold on. Mike was muted. I fixed Mike, though.
Hello?
Hello? Hi?
Are we all fixed?
Now Mike's fixed. I'm sorry, Mike. Now
That's
you guys,
okay.
Mike was actually...
See, I'm already getting shut up. It's already happening.
I disagree with Mike so much I muted him.
Nicole knew
That
that
was it.
start spamming drop the price in the chat.
Drop the price.
Yeah, drop the price in the chat if you want to see it.
All right, so before we get to the nitty gritty, can you guys give me a really quick overview? What are your general thoughts on the Direct? What was your first thought when you were done watching the Direct? What came into your head first?
I thought overall it was great. Obviously, we'll get into the price and we'll get into some of the negatives, but in terms of the positives, I mean, we saw a few new games that all look great. The games look they look beautiful. They run great. The system they showed us the new specs. The specs are I mean, obviously it's not a PS5, but for Nintendo standards, they're actually very good. They showed us some new functionalities that while they're behind the time in some ways, they've kind of caught up in other ways, and they're still trying to be that fun, innovative Nintendo. Again, you could talk about the price. You could talk about maybe wanting to see one or two more first-party things, but they also got great third-party support, some surprises. I thought overall, you take everything together. I thought it was an overall great first showcase for Switch 2.
Okay, cool. What about you, Mike?
Yeah, I mostly agree with Ryan. I was overall happy with it. Price withstanding, I've said my opinion, what I thought it would be last time, and I was way off, so I guess that's my bad.
I don't know how off you actually were. We'll get into that later, but I have a theory.
Okay. But anyway, I thought they played it pretty safe. Everything we sort of knew, right, with the Switch. We knew the mouse controls, we knew everything would be up-res. We knew Mario Kart, obviously. The biggest takeaways were Kirby Air Riders, which might have been my favorite surprise, and Donkey Kong, which was nice. We knew there was going to be a big game that they were going to do. I don't think we expected Donkey Kong. We expected Odyssey 2 or something like that. But overall, very safe. I'm glad they spilled the C feature. That's about what we expected, though. We knew it was going to be some kind of chat function. I know we had theories about community and whatnot, but I think chat was the safest choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, but overall, I enjoyed it. Again, price was hard to wrangle with. It's whatever. We'll get into that, but I enjoyed the Direct.
Yeah, I have to say, this is for me personally, this is one of the Directs, one of the only Directs in recent times I came out of it, and I was like, there were surprises that didn't get leaked. We didn't, honestly, the DK thing and the Kirby thing, the fact that didn't get leaked is actually shocking. Yeah, I felt like a lot of things we did predict, so a lot of things didn't necessarily shock me.
Oh yeah, we gotta go to that bingo board.
Oh yeah, we gotta get to that bingo board. But yeah, I feel like overall it was really good. I was actually very happy with most of the things that were in there. Again, we're gonna talk about the price very shortly, but I think as an overall, I walked out of that feeling very positive, and I was actually very shocked at the community feedback, and not necessarily specifically the monetary side of it. There were a lot of people complaining about the games, and I was actually shocked. So let's just address the elephant in the room, because let's just get that out of the way, because I don't want to harp on it the entire time, and I know you guys don't want to. We've been talking about this on our separate chat all day, so but I do want to hear your guys' opinion on the price. So correct me if I'm wrong, but Mike, you predicted about $350 for the price?
Yeah, I believe that's where I landed.
Okay, and Ryan, I think, predicted about 400. right? I think you were in between us, and I predicted 450. So the reason why I predicted 450 anyway is just because I felt like it was comparable to the PS4. One thing I didn't take into account were the tariffs, which looking back actually makes sense now for why it's 450. Because I think Mike, you were actually on the money, because that's what
so?
well, because that's what they're charging Japan.
Oh,
And I'm
yeah,
thinking,
I didn't see that.
I'm thinking, it's a combination of the yen is really bad right now. I know that because I just bought some yen. But
Just for the podcast, right?
yeah, just for the podcast. No, but the yen's really bad right now. Nintendo said that, hey, the Japanese model is cheaper because the yen is bad. And I wonder if they just kind of wanted to preemptively get ahead of the tariffs. Specifically just to be like, hey, let's be foolproof, because we can't raise the price after we announce it, right? We can't say, oh, it's going to be 350. Oh, actually, guys, JK, it's going to be 400. A lot of people seem to think that they'd be doing that. I don't think they are. So before I give my opinion on the prices, I do want to hear from you guys. We have somebody in the chat that's saying, I'm thinking about boycotting because it's too expensive. So what do you guys think?
So we're just talking first about the system price.
Yeah, let's talk about the system. Actually, you know what? Let's talk about both, because I think they kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah, I think so too.
So yeah, and you bring up a great point. Like, obviously they can't announce a price and then go higher later. I mean, if anything, like when things go on sale, they can say, oh, it's at this price. Actually, we're going to lower it a bit. So that makes more sense. No, the tariffs make the tariffs reason makes sense. I think, knowing that, I can understand why it's at that price. Even if the tariffs weren't like a thing, and let's just say it was going to naturally be 450 anyway. I mean, for the specs that we're getting on a handheld, I mean, obviously the Steam Deck is obviously its competitor in that regard. I think that it's a very, again, for Nintendo standard, it's a strong system. So even though I think 400 overall would have made more sense, I'm okay with 450, again factoring in the tariffs. Again, for the fact that this is gonna be a more powerful Switch, which is kind of what we want, and the games seem to look and run beautifully. Since we're talking about it hand in hand, I think the bigger problem for a lot of people, like, I think the 450, I think people can kind of like come around on it a bit. It's still cheaper than a PS5, still cheaper than a PS5 Pro. Like, it's obviously not the most expensive system on the market, but I think the thing that is in people's real sticking points is the game's price.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you both keep me honest and share your thoughts as well. Digital games, mainly Mario Kart World, are $80. Correct?
Well, okay, so that's one of the misconception things I just want to jut in, Mike. Not that I want to cut Mike off.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of misinformation, more than I think normal, going around. And I think it's because people are so angry. Rightfully so. I'm not saying that people shouldn't be upset about any of this. I just want to make it clear that there have been absolutely zero reports, like accurate reports, on the digital price of any of these games. So far, there's only been one price for all of the games that has actually been posted in euros. Mario Kart World, I believe, is the only game that's been posted in USD. Everything else has been euros, and also it's only been one price. So either it's digital and physical are the same price now, or that's the physical one and digital will presumably be $10 cheaper. So I just want to say one thing. There are no games that are currently slated for $90. The $90 thing that you're seeing is actually euro. It's from, I did the research on this today. That's why I feel comfortable saying this. There was an article that published right after the direct happened, actually. A European outlet was the first one to post the prices in euros, which was 90. Now, euros differ from USD. That's one thing. But also, two, I believe that in Europe, or at least certain countries in Europe, they have to include the tax in it. So when you see $90, you are paying $90 with the tax included. So that's MSRP plus tax. That's not MSRP of 90 and then you're paying tax on top of that. In the US, obviously, that's different. So I just wanted to throw that out there because as far as we know, there is no game that is currently costing $90 USD.
Yeah.
That's all I want to say.
So the digital $70, that's not confirmed either then?
So the $70 is not confirmed to be digital or physical. It's assumed to be physical because it's from a retailer, which I know that they can sell digital files. It's just assumed to be physical. So again, we don't have confirmation on anything except one of those two versions is going to be $70 for DK.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to hear your guys' thoughts on it.
So Mike, what do you think?
Okay, so I'm purely sticking off games are $80. I'm not worrying about digital. I'm not worrying about
that's
$90
fine.
euro. I'm not including the tax. I'm strictly speaking US because that's where I live and that's all I really know. Sorry about that. Sorry about European friends. I think it's crazy still. to be honest. I know I'm gonna put myself in a bit of a bubble here, where I know there's like the tariffs, I know there's inflation, I know if you compare the price of games back in like the 50s, it's obviously it's like way more than, and I get it, I understand it. And I think that argument should be talked about, and we should just discuss it later. But as far as like my personal how I feel about this take, it's a lot. And the thing I worry about with Nintendo specifically is they have such a high bar for all of their games, where I feel like once a game comes out as $80, like there's gonna be so many games coming out at $80.
Yeah.
Maybe an occasional 70 here or there, but I think $60 from Nintendo is like truly gone, and I think that's a shame.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's like a lot of Nintendo games are like, okay, like I'm playing it for nostalgia, I'm playing it. Like I live and die by like side scroller Mario games, right? Like I would pay $100 for that, to be honest, but it is not worth it. It is barely worth $60. It's probably worth more 50, 40 for a side scroller game. And yeah, they put a lot of effort, a lot of time, and a lot of dedication into it, so I respect it. But if we're gonna be paying $80, like Mario Kart's just the start of it. It's like okay, like I would get a lot of use out of $80 for Mario Kart, and I'm sure a
Yeah.
lot of people would. But when the next like Mario Tennis game comes out, you're gonna pay $80 for that, and that's sort of how
Yeah.
I look at it. Again, you could justify that it's like okay, it's about time we get to $80 price games. Like it's been game prices haven't changed in 30 years, and again, we should have that argument, I guess, a little later. But for my own personal take, I wouldn't want to pay $80 for like a Strikers or a tennis game or a Princess Peach game or something like that.
Yeah, that's a great point. So let me ask you something. Wonder was $60, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
How did you feel paying $60 for Wonder?
I personally thought it was worth it just because I recognize all of the polish behind it,
Mm-hmm.
and I loved literally every second of that game. I thought it was like
Yeah.
one of the best side scrolls they've done in a long time, and you could tell they put a lot of effort into that one. Like if it was like $60 for like New Super Mario Brothers, like two, whatever, which one they were on at that point,
Yeah.
that to me is not worth the $60. But like Mario Wonder for me was worth 60.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I understand that being $60. I beat the game. I 100%ed it. It was still only like 15 hours of gameplay though.
Yeah,
It was fun and I enjoyed it. And I think it's one of the better side scrollers that have come out of Nintendo in a long time. But paying $60 for that for me personally was like my limit for that kind of game.
yeah,
$80 in my opinion, you are kind of pushing it a little bit. I think there's a handful of games that I'll be like, okay, listen, I'm gonna pay whatever you make me pay because I just love it.
yeah,
Maybe I'm part of the problem, and that's a whole separate conversation.
Mhm.
But like for example, the Princess Peach game came out when there was a drought in games, and I was like, oh, this looks kind of fun.
yeah. I thought the
And
same
then when
thing.
it came out and it was $60, I said, what? I said, I know Nintendo games like Mario games are $60 games, but like you cannot sell this to me for $60.
Yeah.
I won't even look at it unless it's $40.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So
And
that's
the
what.
whole thing is like it could get all the good reviews it wants, but it still has that price tag of 60, It could be like, "Oh
Yeah,
yeah, it was really fun." Like I can't give it like a 6 out of 10 because the game was really good and really polished. But if it's short for $60 or just like
yeah,
average, that's much
He,
better going somewhere else.
here's a theory I heard, and obviously I think this theory could make sense if not factoring in real world factors, because obviously we can't ignore real world factors and tariffs and whatnot. Do we think either in a real world setting or in a world without the tariffs, do you think that this could have been $80, which we know is going to be the price for Cart World? Do we think that could have been them testing the waters? And the reason why I say that, or I've heard that theory, is because the only Switch game that was 70 was Tears of the Kingdom,
Mhm.
and I think the rest of the games were like 60. Like Nicole was saying, Peach was 60. Thousand Year Door Remake was 60. Pikmin 4 was 60. Like most of their games are $60 in the
Mhm.
Switch. 70 Tears of the Kingdom. Yes, I know it's a sequel to Breath of the Wild, but with all the content they added for Tears of the Kingdom,
that's a $70 game though. Like I will fight and
yes,
say that and Breath of the
Yeah.
Wild are both like Breath of the Wild could have been a $70 game and that would have sold just fine.
I agree because like you can sink like I did for both Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild. I sunk like 120 plus hours into
Yeah,
both those games. So
Yeah.
like well worth the price. Um, so my question to you both is: do we feel like real world or not? 80 could have been them testing the water, because like Mario Kart will obviously, well, we'll see now, but Mario Kart always sells well. It was the best selling Switch game by far. If the reception to this is really as negative as the online fan base is kind of portraying, which obviously the online fan base doesn't speak for like the average consumer, but if this is really bad news for them, drop the price and people are upset and Mario Kart sells well below expectations, again, tariffs aside, do you guys think they could say, "Oh wow, we really kind of overshot our load here. We got to back it up"?
They can. I also, here's the other thing too, is they're trying to sell that bundle, and
Yeah, I think the bundle's gonna inflate it a lot.
yeah, the bundle's going to inflate it, but also I feel like this is an incentive for them to, okay, so the bundle is $50 for Mario Kart. If you buy Mario Kart standalone, it's gonna be $80. If you're getting the Switch on release, there's absolutely no reason for you not to get the bundle. Not because it's just a good deal, but also what other games are you getting on release?
Yeah.
Right? Now I know Donkey Kong comes out a month later, but on release there really isn't much to play other than the fact that it's an upgraded Switch. I don't know when those download. I think the upgrade patches are like for Zelda. I think that's released too. So that's also great. But at the same time, it's like there really aren't a ton. So you would be really kind of, unless you're really hurting for money that much, I think it would just really behoove you to get the bundle. So part of me wonders if they're like, hey, buy this bundle so we can sell more of these units. Why would you buy this game separately? While also testing, hey, what happens if we make this MSRP at $80? I don't know. It's interesting to me. I also wonder if the $80 price tag is also accounting for maybe they're doing free DLC. Mm-hmm. I know the Mario Kart DLC was very well received. For Deluxe. Really and I'm gonna be honest with you, and we'll talk about the game in a little bit too. And I don't want to keep harping on this subject too much, but the game looked great. Personally, for me, the $80 price tag is high. I think at $50 it's a steal. I think it is a $70 game, but I'm also not offended to pay $80. If the bundle didn't exist, let's pretend that we're in that world. I think $80 for Mario Kart I could still stomach, because I know that's a game where I'm going to get hundreds of hours of gameplay, fun, stuff like that. But I wouldn't be happy about spending $80. Like, I'm not gladly handing my wallet over and being, Nintendo, this is great. I'm so happy you charged me $80.
I've been waiting to give you $80.
You know, but yeah, that's just my take on it.
Yeah, it's a fair take. I think they definitely purposely made it the $50 extra for the bundle. Like that wasn't just like, oh, like we just want an even number. Let's just go with like 50 from our card. We'll take the loss as long as we get our even number. Or maybe they did, I don't know. But I do think it was a choice to be like, okay, we want people on the Switch too. We want to give them an incentive to buy the game for maybe it being $30 cheaper. Like saying that figure would get people to buy the game, because honestly, that is a pretty good incentive.
Yeah.
So I am curious their reasoning behind it.
Okay, but overall though, you guys, just going back to the Switch then for a second so we can wrap this section up. You guys are cool with the $450 price tag overall? I know it's a little bit more than we would have hoped. Like I would have liked to see closer to $400, but I feel like even with all the different functionality, right? We're getting brand new designed Joy-Cons, right, with the mouse feature, even though it looked a little gimmicky. I mean, it has that feature. You're getting those game chat features and stuff like that. I mean, again, not the highest quality, but it exists now. I don't know. Are you guys okay with the like, would that deter you?
I think all things considered, and again, maybe I'm biased because I just bought a PS5 like 8 months ago for $500. And even though the system's not as strong, it's strong enough, and I can play these games on the go and in person. I'm okay with the $450 personally.
Me personally, like I accept it. Like I accept that this is reality. In my mind, it's 500 just because of the bundle. But
of course,
I'll just stick with the just stick with the 450 though. I'll stick with the 450. Even that, I think, is pushing the limit. I really think this, everything said and done, I still believe this is like I will say 400 system. In my deepest of hearts, I will go with Japan and say 350 still. Yeah, it's just like, I don't know, not like it's gonna be really good. They're really doing a lot of upgrades, but at the end of the day, if the specs are true, it seems like it's like a PS4 Pro. Like that's what everybody was saying.
I think I'm not entirely sure about
Yeah.
that, but
So I
it
guess let's
sounds
just
right.
say a little strong. Let's say between the PS4 PS5 just to be safe.
Hmm.
Like to me, that's like a $400 console. And I know portable is like the big thing. You
Yeah,
can put it all
Yeah.
within it. I get that, and all the little like the mouse controls, all of that. I'm sure that adds to the price. But even with all that said, I think 400's a little fair.
Yeah. No, I mean that's fair. And like I said, I think, when you look at the Japan pricing, which I think is about 330 or 350,
Mhm.
you look at that and it's like, okay, I know they're cutting a deal because the yen is not doing well right now, and that's their primary consumer base. Like they're a Japanese company. They've been
Yeah.
primarily, they're very supportive of their country and stuff like that. They've always tried to do right by their local players. Um, I do think that this was just a preemptive tax thing. I also think that's why you didn't see the price in the direct. Although I did go
Yeah.
back and looked at the Switch 1 direct, and I didn't see a price in that either. So there is
Yeah, I'm
just a
sure
chance
they
that they don't.
released the price last minute. Like that just
Yeah.
makes sense to me.
I just think Nintendo's that type of company where they try to hold their cards as close to their chest as possible.
Mhm.
Um,
yeah.
And
but
they make those videos like way beforehand too. Like that video's probably been sitting there for like
well,
months.
that's the thing, is
Or-
that those videos have probably been sitting there for months. So if they recorded those videos, what, 1 or 2 months ago, that was
Yeah.
January.
Yeah.
Like who knew what was gonna happen? So anyway, let's move on from the price thing, because I think we kind of set our piece on that.
Yeah, yeah. I think we're
And
good.
we talked about the functionality too, and the features. Unless you guys have anything else you want to add about the new features.
I mean, I think there are great features that Nintendo should have had, a few years ago. I think as
Yeah.
always, they do great with their IPs. They do great with their, their games. They struggle in other areas.
Mhm.
I mean, they basically I was looking at the chats. They basically like reinvented Discord. They just
Yeah.
they,
Yeah, I thought that was
Discord.
Discord. I legitimately
Yeah,
thought that was
yeah.
Discord
It looks
integration.
just like it.
Yeah, I legitimately thought that.
I mean, it probably should have just been Discord, but
Yeah.
it's okay.
Well, Discord would have had better screen sharing.
Yeah.
Well, that was the joke that Nintendo they were okay with showing like the other like the screen shares running at like 10 FPS. So look, it's very cool that you're able to do it. You're able to chat with your friends using the C button. You're able to screen share. Obviously, the other thing that we had no idea about was the camera. Now you can like put
Yeah.
the camera at the video chats. And I guess the cool thing that you could argue is that when you're playing and screen sharing, your face, if you want it to be, can be next to your game. But if you're then playing one of those expanded games like Mario Party, your face can be
That was
next
the
to
cool part.
Yeah.
next to your character the entire time you're playing. So
I hope more games integrate that. That was cool.
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
I agree that this is a cool thing they're doing. Again, some parts are a little bit behind the times, clearly, but I think it's a great step for them in the right direction. And I think there's also some like sentimental, I think, thought behind it too, because I think I was reading some like Nintendo employees like their reactions and stuff, and basically I think the whole concept that they were marketing was like alone together, like you're all together but you're alone.
Yeah.
Like you're kind of like you're kind of rebuilding those memories like with you and your friends when you went over each other's houses, and like now you can like be together technically again with the camera and like with the chat feature.
This would have been perfect during COVID.
Yeah,
Like-
yeah,
Well,
yeah. It
I
really
was gonna say
would've been.
during COVID, and I think that was a big thing that Iwata always wanted to do, which was like kind of like having you being like alone but like being together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't
Granted,
they have like a Wii U camera that sort of did that too? Or
I think
Wii?
so. Yeah, like this
I
would have been like
think-
you said, perfect during COVID.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool.
Oh, so yeah, something else I want to talk about with the micro SD. Let's try. I hope we don't take this like I'm just combating everything you say. So the thing is with the micro SDs is I was upset too until I realized why they don't work. I mean, here's the thing. I work with flash drives all the time for my job. So like for me, I kind of get like the tech end of why these upgrades need to happen. The fact of the matter is, between a normal micro SD and these express ones, the amount of data transfer is tenfold. So I was looking at one of the older SD cards, and it's something like 50 megabits a second. These express can do 1 gigabyte a second. So I mean, we're talking like over tenfold the speed. And for games, you need to have fast loading screens. You need to be able to render things quickly, read these large files. I mean, the thing is, every game that comes out, the files are getting larger and larger and larger. You know, when I first started playing World of Warcraft, it was a 20 gigabyte download. Now it's 140 gigabytes. I mean, it's the same damn game, but like it's just growing. It's harder to optimize these things. So, yes, it's expensive. I get that it's expensive. I do, because I have about 12 different SD cards that are all V9s, that are all 256 gigabytes. I mean, I probably have almost $1,000 worth of just SD cards sitting on my bed next to me. I get it. But I do think it's one of those things where it's like eventually you gotta upgrade. And I don't mean that in like a bad way. Like, I get that it's a lot of money, but it's kind of like when you build a computer, right? You have all these parts, you buy the best state-of-the-art parts. The one that I have next to me, I built in 2020. I spent $2,200 on it. Top of the line parts. Guess what? That computer barely holds up to today's computers. And at a certain point, it's like, well, I really want that new, like, I don't know, 5000 series from NVIDIA. It's like, I don't know if my motherboard's going to take that anymore, right? It's because the motherboard is like bottlenecked by itself. So I now can't put in this like really high, or like if a new speed RAM comes out, it's like, that's great, but like I can't use it because of this. So it's like at some point the technology, it just doesn't function anymore, like using old parts. And last thing I just want to say on this too is a lot of people seem to be forgetting that this Switch is almost 8 years old.
Yeah, it's time
this
for an
is
upgrade.
And this is, if it's 8 years old in our hands, the technology that's in there is probably closer to 9 or 10 years old. So that's a lot in terms of like electrical equipment. So I mean, the stuff in there is just outdated. They needed to make that jump, which is also why I'm not surprised by the price jump, because I think they're looking a little bit more forward term with this, to make sure that this thing can really.
Yeah, that's why I want to get my hands on it, to see like how forward it is. And of course, like Nintendo game's gonna run so beautifully just because Nintendo knows what they're doing. But I'm like, give me the Pokemon game. Let's see how let's really test it.
And just to be clear, like I totally get, I don't want to sound like I'm like entitled or anything. Like I totally understand the money argument. I'm fortunate enough that I have the expendable cash where I can go buy the new cards, the new, like I'm gonna be a day oneer for the Switch. I'm gonna buy probably Donkey Kong. I'm gonna buy the Pokemon game no matter what it costs. So like I do try to like ground myself and take a step back to think about it and be like, listen, like how, like, let me see it from the other side of somebody who maybe can't afford these things. And I do feel, I agree though. I do wish the normal ones would be compatible, because it would help people out that don't want to put the money in to get the new one. But I'm also seeing it from Nintendo's point of view, where it's like, first of all, you have to create hardware that can support it. It's not always a, hey, we're just going to toggle the Switch on and make it compatible or not. Like it isn't always like that. Just straight up, sometimes the technology is just too old. And not that I think that's the case here, but I also think on top of that, it's like, you want your system to run as well as possible, because you're going to have a lot of people that use the old SD cards and then complain, why does the loading screen suck? Nintendo sucks.
I'm sure they try to avoid that.
I just spent $450 on this brand new thing and it takes me 20 seconds to load this thing in. But if you just use the flash one, it's like 5 seconds. You know what I'm trying to say? I know that was a ramble, but it's like, and I don't want to sound like a Nintendo defender, because I will call Nintendo out when it needs to be called out. Like that stupid tech demo.
Well, I was going to say, Nicole, that was a great segue, because I was going to bring it up, because I figure when we get to some of the games and stuff, we'll get to some of the more positive things.
Yeah.
But while we're still kind of in the realm of like prices and things that have gotten like mixed reactions, I kind of wanted to kind of stick with that before we get to the happy stuff. And you brought up a great segue. You might, so far, if someone's listening to this for the first time, might say, oh, Ryan is somewhat of a defender right now. I've been mostly positive so far. I'm not happy about the $80 prices for games. I'm okay with the system price. This is where I'll get negative. This is where Nintendo gets a bit greedy. And like you said, Nicole, they keep their, and I know this, they keep their cards close to the vest. They also are very controlling. They like to control the narrative. They like to control the partnership. They're very, very, controlling in that way. And I think sometimes, like you said, well, we can't blame them for certain things, and maybe they're doing this price for the tariffs or for this reason. There's no reason why that tech demo, whatever it's called, the
100%
experience,
that's just unacceptable.
If Sony can create Astro's Playroom, which obviously is now grown into Astrobot, and it's a great IP for them, and I love it a lot. If they made Astro's Playroom, which is a fully playable tech demo, that's the equivalent of like a 5 to 8 hour game to like do everything for free.
Yeah.
the fact that you're charging anything is ridiculous. I actually would love to see when they have their next sales call how much this sells, because them putting a price on it in general is
No,
ridiculous.
absolutely
They're
ridiculous.
and the last thing I'll say before I turn it over to you guys, they're lucky that they were like, okay, fine, $10. And I'm not saying that justifies it, but like I could see some people saying, all right, $10 is like $10 is not that bad. I'll throw them $10. I'll try it out. I'm gonna collect it, whatever the case is. But like,
No, that's unacceptable. Unacceptable.
no, this is, I don't know what they were thinking with this, honestly.
Yeah, that was a bit crazy. I think they're a little too confident, I guess I'll say, in how the Switch did and like where they could stand. So I don't think they're in as good as a position as they think they are. I mean, they definitely are in a good spot. I don't want to be that kind of guy, but it's like you
Yeah.
have the competition, you have the Steam Deck, you have the PS5, and I know it's like, oh, Nintendo games, Pokemon, that's only on the Switch. That's where they really shine, and they really put a lot of effort into those games. But that being said, it's like even $10 for that game is so crazy.
No,
I don't care if it's filled with mini games. Like it's a tech
it's
demo.
ridiculous. It's first of all, we got Wii Sports for free.
Yeah,
We got
yeah, where's those days?
yeah, like it's the tariffs at the tutorial too. That's funny. No, it's just bad because it's like you have literally direct competitors that
Yeah.
are giving out better free games. And here's the thing: if you like truly couldn't comprehend giving this out for free, because I will say this, I want to just keep this in the back of my mind, or all of our minds really, is Nintendo is a company that does not like doing layoffs. I mean, the president of the company cut his own salary to keep people employed during the holidays. They've been generally very good to their employees and to their studios underneath them. TPCI is its own separate branch because they're not really controlled by Nintendo. But overall, like most Nintendo developers are actually pretty happy and have been pretty successful. You're not hearing about them having mass layoffs. I don't mind buying games. That's why I don't pirate any of their games, because I know that my money is going to support that, and I like that, versus going to some other studios, Blizzard, that abuses their developers. So if you really couldn't stomach putting that game out for free, because obviously a team worked on that. There was money involved in that. A team worked on that. I get that.
But the console sales should go towards that.
That, or just lock it behind NSO. If you just strictly could not put it out for free, just put it behind your paid subscription, which I know is still not the answer. Like, I think it should be totally free. Let's be clear, but I just feel like that's a good compromise where it's like a lot of your true try-hard Switch Nintendo fans are going to buy the Switch 2 on day of. Like, that's why that anti-scalping program that they're doing, which we should talk about, I think works so well, because you're actually targeting the people most likely to buy your Switch 2. Let them just play the game for free. Like, what is the problem with that?
And it's sort of like going off of that and melting it into the price point of it. You're not really paying $450 for the console. You're paying $500 at minimum to get a game for it, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, you pay $450, and then I guess you could pay $10 for the tech demo, but no matter
That's not a
what
game.
you say, I know it's not a game. And it's like, okay, you can play your old games, but it's like, all right, if you play the old games, I don't like to play the Switch one, you know? So it all comes back to, it's like, okay, you pay $450 and you literally have nothing to do with it. Like, no free demo, no free mini games, no Wii Sports. Like, you're gonna have to pay for something.
Yeah.
Even if, like, what was it? Was a Zelda upgrade for you, Ryan? Do you know off the top of your head?
You mean Breath of the Wild?
Yeah, you got to pay for that too, right?
No.
The
Yeah.
upgrades version?
It's, well,
so.
yes, you have to pay for it, but it's free if you're a member.
Yeah, so Breath
Okay.
of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, I think, are free if you're a member.
Okay.
Other games, like Jamboree or whatever it is, like if you have the game already, it's like going to be a very small price to upgrade it, the upgrade pack.
Yeah.
At least that's a DLC though. That's like a full-on DLC.
Well,
Yeah,
yes,
which
that's
is nice.
DLC. The Kirby thing is DLC. That might be for those upgrades. I don't know what those prices are. I would think it won't be that crazy. Maybe like $10-$20. It'll probably be somewhere around there. Then of course you have the free games like Treasure Tracker and other games that are going to get just like naturally free updates. And then later we'll talk about like the Switch 2 enhanced games as well. But yeah, I think that's kind of what the price is.
Yeah, so I guess the point being, and I know that's sort of the case for any new console where you never really pay for the console, but at least it's like, at least we gave you Wii Sports, at least Sony gave you the Playroom. Like Nintendo, you literally have nothing with the console except your old games, and you can't even play like upgraded versions of the game, so you like pay some kind of additional cost to get it.
Yeah, it's definitely that's the only argument regarding the games that I actually agree with. I think there's been a lot of complaints of people being like, there's no games coming out. There's no game. Like, why would I buy this? And it's like, I get it. I mean, you do have some games coming out, especially
Yeah.
for the first year. Like they announced a bunch of first party games,
Yeah,
but
I think
the
the
day
games themselves
one,
aren't actually the issue.
yeah, I agree with you. It's like, yeah, you pick it up day one. If you don't like Mario Kart, then what are you playing?
Yeah.
You're kind of stuck with playing, Zelda for the 18th
Yeah.
time,
And I think
Yeah.
in this day and age, it's sort of expected that there won't be a lot of good launch games. Like I could be wrong. Like feel free to correct me, but I feel like there's a lot of history where it's like, okay, like the Switch came out. What did it come out with? It came
Well,
out
hold
with.
on, it came out with Breath of the Wild.
Well, so did the Wii U. You could have just played it on the Wii U. Of course, like a worse version of it, but
Oh, you're talking about exclusive.
yeah, like
Oh,
exactly.
okay. I was gonna
'Cause there's,
say,
like Switch too. I could play my Switch games on it, right? Like if you don't own a Switch,
yeah,
it's
I
a
see what you're
great
saying. I
price.
see what you're saying. Yep. I
Yeah.
misunderstood. Because I was gonna say, like, Breath of the Wild came out with the Switch. Like, that's one of the best launch games you could come out with. But I forgot it was on the Wii U.
No, that was really good for them, but it wasn't like a Switch exclusive. It wasn't like, oh, get this because
Yeah.
you can only play this game on it. And again, that was smart on their part, I would say. Like keep it on the Wii U even if it ran not that well.
Well, and it's also funny too because when the Wii came out, Twilight Princess came out with it, right? And you could play it on the GameCube, which a lot of people did
Yeah,
because you
I
just
did,
couldn't
yeah.
get your hands on the Wii. But it's funny because now Mario Kart's coming out for Switch 2, but you can only play it on Switch 2, right? Like,
Yeah.
So that's a little tricky too.
Yeah. I think that's more the way to do it, to be honest. Like, yeah, you have the exclusive game that you miss out on, but at least it's built from the ground up with like the
Yes.
new technology in mind. And it seems like they're really using it too, which is great. Like I
Yeah.
can't see that running on the regular Switch.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. All right, so let's actually just dive into the games now, I think, because there's a lot of really cool stuff they announced that I want to talk about with you guys. So, real quick, let's just get Mario Party out of the or screw Mario Party. Mario Kart. Let's get Mario Kart out of the way. So, first of all, the second trailer sold me. The first trailer I was iffy,
Yeah.
but the second trailer sold, and the Treehouse sold me. I thought the gameplay looked fantastic. I know, Mike, you have some concerns, so I want to hear those as well. But overall, I'm pretty excited for the game.
Okay. Yeah, I guess let me just get into it. So I'm very excited. I think it's like a 10 out of 10. I even say like system seller. Like I'm gonna like pay $80 for that, no problem.
Well, you're gonna pay 50.
Oh, I'm gonna pay. Who knows? Maybe I won't get the bundle.
You
Maybe
just
I
buy
wanna
Mario
pay-
Kart separate
Yeah,
just because you want to support
I
it.
just wanna support it. But I think it's fantastic. I love the new mode, the characters, the costumes. Yes, Moo Moo.
Yo,
looks
I'm so
great.
excited. I'm finally in a video game, guys. I don't even need to
know
buy a
people
camera.
Were joking around. Yeah. I know people were joking about like all the characters in it. Like you see like a crab on a motorcycle.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, that's the main. The only real worry I have, and after the treehouse, I was sort of not as concerned. But I'm afraid the tracks are going to come across a little boring since it's all like connected open world and whatever.
You're not the only one I saw with that take, by the way, Mike. You're not alone.
Good. That actually makes me feel better because all the courses I've seen so far from the trailer, it sort of just looks like straight lines with like some swerving.
I will say the trailer, I don't think did a good job highlighting the tracks. The Treehouse did a much better job.
Yes, the treehouse definitely was maybe like, okay, I want to hold back on that comment. But I guess just to make the discussion, it's sort of, I don't know. I'm someone that gets like really into Mario Kart. I know Ryan is too because we've definitely versed more than once. Like we like to like push our limits, take all the shortcuts, like optimize the time, not to like to the point of like break-in trial runs, but like me and Ryan get competitive with it for sure.
I love that. We're gonna stream it, by the way.
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
But from the courses we've seen, some in Treehouse, definitely more so in the trailer. It was like me and Ryan would just be going like neck and neck, like, oh yeah, we're going on the straight line. Watch out,
Yeah.
we got the straight line going.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. But I'm excited about the game. I'm glad the costumes are in the game. I know that's a silly one.
Did you guys notice if it was so are those costumes tied to an item, or do you think you can fully customize it? Like, can I choose a loadout before I get into the game?
So this is why, and this is a great segue as well. This is why I'm glad we're gonna have the Mario Kart World Direct in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Where
that's what we
I'm sure
need.
that will be probably like if I think back to the Xenoblade 3 Direct like years ago, I would think this one will be like probably like 15-20 minutes, like not very long, but like long enough to give you enough answers, so that maybe might assuage some of Mike's concerns about the tracks, and it also might answer your question, Nicole. Because on one hand, you clearly transform during the race, because we saw like Mario in the trailer eat like the hamburger or whatever, and he transforms, like, and you see like, you know, Peach transform. Like, they have like, you know, multiple costumes basically. But then when you go on YouTube and you look at people at the Switch Experience trying it out,
Yeah, I saw
there's a
those.
giant select screen with all the characters and the costumes.
Oh, I didn't see
And
that. Okay.
Yeah.
so some people think, oh, you can customize your character beforehand. You pick like, I want Farmer Luigi, I want, you know, Casino Waluigi, like I want this character. But then people were like, but doesn't that defeat the whole purpose if you could pick your character beforehand, if you can like, you know, change during the race? So one theory that I heard, and I'm sure the direct will cover this, is they were wondering, because there's all these characters, right? Like, you know, like Mike mentioned, the cow, the crab, Pokey, the penguin, Goomba, there's a million characters this time. People were wondering if those costumes were kind of like taking like the spots of those characters to kind of like avoid spoilers. And they
No,
kind of like,
interesting. I
and they
feel
kind
like
of
the
like, go ahead.
sorry, go on. I'm just like I could see that take, but it seemed like they like highlighted those characters.
Yeah.
So
I
I don't
don't
Yeah.
know if it would,
know.
but
Yeah,
maybe.
I mean,
Sorry, go on
like,
though.
but like, yeah, so I mean, like, you clearly see in the trailer that they transform during the race.
Mhm.
I just don't know if you can also pick it beforehand. But I
Yeah.
think that, as we're saying, I love that they're leaning into the fun. And I
Yeah.
mentioned this to you guys earlier today. I think Wonder, and I know Mike spoke highly of Wonder earlier. I think what that game did for like the franchise or for Nintendo, kind of like breathed some new life into it.
I agree 100%.
Because
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
so colorful, like not just Wonder, but also this game, of course. It's so colorful, beautiful, it's vivid. Um, you know, the facial expressions are so, you know, reactionary. And I really feel like there's a lot of like Mike always said earlier too, and we were talking about Animal Crossing. You want to have a game where like the game feels alive, like you're living in the world, and like it really does feel alive with all these expressions. So I really do think Wonder is leaning into that with, you know, the costumes, leaning into that with the expressions, the animations, the fact that you can now rail grind is awesome.
Yeah,
That
that's
is
cool.
sick.
That is really cool.
You
That's
can
what the series needed.
yeah,
Yeah.
rail grind right on the walls. I want to hear you guys' thoughts on this as well. But obviously, like, you know, you have the classic Grand Prix mode, you have the new free roam mode where you can drive anywhere, you have the brand new, like, you know, battle royale knockout mode. So I feel like they're doing a lot of great things, and I'm very excited.
Yeah, I gotta bust you, Mike. I gotta
Oh,
just
thank you.
throw my 2 cents in here real quick. So,
Yep.
I was actually a very late adopter to Mario Kart 8. That was the one on Switch 1, right? Deluxe or whatever.
Yeah.
I was a very late adopter to it. I actually didn't buy the game until after the DLC courses were done.
Right, they get you one way or another.
And the thing was, I didn't even buy it because of the DLC. I literally just bought it because I wanted to play with you guys. And I was bored. There was like a dip in like the games. And I liked it. Don't get me wrong. It was a fun Mario Kart game. Like, I didn't feel like I wasted my money. But it just didn't feel innovative. Right? So, like, in the past, you know, you'd have Mario Kart Double Dash. Like, that swapped up the formula. DS, even though it really didn't change with the formula, just changed a lot of things in the game that made it a great game. Added some new mini games and stuff like that. I honestly just feel like since Wii, it's kind of just been stale.
Yeah, I
It just
think
feels
that's
like I'm
fair.
buying for new courses and maybe a couple new characters. This made me go, wow, I'm actually excited to play this. I feel like
Yeah.
it's wacky, like Ryan said. I think they're way less afraid to try new things since Wonder, because they saw that Wonder had such amazing reception. So I really hope that they continue this trend forward. I hope that game really re-energized the designers, and I think you actually see some of that in the Donkey Kong game as well.
Yeah, I agree.
So
Yeah.
I will say really quickly to answer one of Mike's concerns, and again, I think the direct will cover it. The one game mode they haven't shown, just because it's the most classic Mario Kart game mode. Obviously, you have Grand Prix, and in this game, the whole part about it being world, which is very cool, is that the world is connected. So when you do the Mushroom Cup, you basically have 4 courses near each other, and after the race, you drive to the next course, which is very cool. Like, the race never really stops. And the world is like interconnected. And then same thing with the battle royale mode, where you have like 6 different courses, and you just keep going and you're not keeping people out. To answer Mike's like concern about the tracks, the one mode they haven't shown is like the classic like versus mode, where instead of the Grand Prix where you have like the sets, 4 races in the cup, versus like, you pick your own courses. And I think the theory that I feel like I've heard is that they basically wanted to show the brand new stuff in this game, so they haven't gone over the classic, like Mario Kart racing. And I think the theory is like if we can pick like the what's it called, like pick the snow level, the fire level, the ocean level, and like the castle level. When you pick those 4 courses in a versus mode, they're not going to be necessarily next to each other on the map.
Yeah.
And are they really going to make you like drive all the way across the map just for the next race? Whereas like in regular versus mode in Mario Kart, you'd have the one race, you go to the next one, and the next one.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if that's where you're going to see, like, because none of these, and Nicole was very smart to point this out separately. She noticed, she's like, wait, are laps gone? Because when you do the Grand Prix and the knockout, there's no laps. You just keep going.
Yeah, it's just a one linear race.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if they have versus mode, but they just haven't shown it yet because it's, basic Mario Kart. Maybe that's where, Mike, we'll see like a course
that's what I'm curious about.
that has like 3 laps.
That's a good thing. I didn't think about that.
Then maybe that's where it's like, okay, now that you have the 3 laps, now we'll see like here are the shortcuts here, because like maybe they're just showing like the straightaway for the action.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see all this stuff later. I don't know.
Yeah. I could definitely see that too. Doubling back to Nicole's point real fast with Mario Kart 8. So it definitely, I think on Mario Kart 8 they focused more on like polish, right?
Yeah,
Make the game as
I agree.
smooth and good as possible. Like it's so like performs so well. You feel like you have control of everything. Randomness isn't that bad, so on and so forth. Now I think with World, I feel like they took that polish and put it into their next innovation, being like, okay, like we got the game down. Like this is the Mario Kart game. Now what can we spread it out to? But I will say, not to get to the treehouse too soon, but that definitely helped me realize that okay, the tracks seem a little like there's more to it than just a straight line. Because
Dude,
I remember
that
there was one
level.
part,
What was that? Donkey Kong.
Donkey
It was
Kong level?
Mario
Yeah.
versus Donkey Kong level.
that was a
Dude,
cool
that level was sick. Like,
Yeah.
that level looked really cool.
Definitely the presentation, no matter what happens, is there. It looks
Yeah.
very, very pretty. It's going to be a really good game. But I remember there was this one part where they were driving through the knockout race, and then they got to a part with a hill, and you see like snakes around up the hill, the road.
Yeah.
But instead, they were going the other way because that's just how the tour was. So they were going down the hill. So I feel like the course adapted to it going down the hill because there's like little ramps up and everything.
Oh.
So I don't know. I don't know if that's just what it happens to be. But I did notice there's like a road that you can follow through to go back up.
I wonder.
Like, oh,
you think
the
these?
knockout race
So
make
you
it
think
that
these
way?
courses will like change?
Yeah, that's sort of my theory. Not to get into theory crafting right now, but I would feel better if they do that. And I feel like that might be a thing since everything's connected. You have to go downhill to go uphill, right? What stops you from going the other way during a race,
That's not a bad idea, actually.
So
I
we'll
mean-
see. I think that would help switch it up too.
And that also fits into Ryan's idea too, where if this is, they've only shown really the Grand Prix. If they do the versus mode and it ends up being a lap, I mean, that course obviously has to adjust. So, maybe
I
they're
think so.
creating like 2 different versions of that course. Or they just design it in a way where it adapts.
Yeah,
We're all
yeah,
main in the world. I'm a Yoshi stan, so I just always take Yoshi. That's how it is.
Rosalina for sure.
Rosalina?
Yeah, always.
Oh,
wait,
Mike.
What was the question? Who are we racing with?
No,
Who
yeah, who you
meaning,
meaning?
yeah.
Well, listen, because now that there's these characters, and I'm very excited to see all the different characters and like how we also get these characters. I usually play Luigi, but like the cow's tempting.
The cows
Dude, I'm a
is-
cow in real life. I don't need to play one in a video game too.
No, I'll tell you who I'm going to play
So
because
much
I don't know if you guys saw the sunshine representation. in
No.
this.
Oh,
Flood?
the guy that launches you
The
up.
Piantas are there, and then the Cataquacks are there. I might
Yeah,
get-
the Cataquack.
Oh my god, Cataquack!
You gotta be.
Cataquack for life in the chat. I had to yawn during our clip.
Spot.
No, that's so good. I didn't see the Cataquack.
Yeah.
I do want to move on from Mario Kart. Not that I could talk all night, but we only have like 20 minutes and like a lot more games to get through.
Mario Kart Direct.
I have to throw this in here really quick. And then we'll talk about Donkey Kong, but I have to talk about it. My favorite part of this entire direct was when they said, I'm sorry, it was actually after the direct, when a tweet came out saying that Scarlet and Violet was getting a free performance upgrade. And I have to tell you, you have no idea how excited I am to see my Raging Bolt in 26 FPS.
Hey, we'll see. It's Scarlet and Violet. Who knows what could actually run?
Who knows what could happen? I thought that was cool, and just in general, I think the Switch 2 upgrades that they announced, especially the ones that are locked behind NSO, I think those are just great. I mean, you're gonna get. Here's the thing people forget. You're going to get a better performance out of these games just straight up by taking the cartridge out from your Switch 1 and putting it in your Switch 2. Like, it's just going to perform slightly better anyway. But the paid experience is you're getting some extra content, where you're just getting like an actual redesign, you're getting a patch. And like, that's one thing too that I feel like with Nintendo, they always try to go a little bit above and beyond. So like, they didn't just say, hey, buy this Tears of the Kingdom upgrade, and then it just plays better. It's like, okay, we're redesigning this app to give you extra functionality. You can argue the functionality is not super exciting, but they at least tried to like add more value to it, which is why I've always been like a fan of Nintendo's DLCs.
Like, they're good with that stuff. That's why it's so weird that it's trying to like charge you $80 for a game.
No, I completely agree, but I'm just saying, like, I'm just excited that they're actually. I know PlayStation did this for games that are PS4 to go into PS5. Like, you got these free upgrades. I don't want to comment on those because I've never used any of them, but I just like that Nintendo tried to add a little bit more to it.
Yeah, it was definitely good.
Do you guys have anything you want to add to that before we move on?
Well, what I'll say is that, like, because we talked about it a little bit before, but like obviously Jamboree's getting its enhanced version, Kirby's getting its enhanced version. Nicole mentioned the tweet after the show that Scarlet Violet will perform better. We'll see if it goes from 20 to 30. We'll see.
30s, that's a little ambitious. That's a little ambitious.
We'll see how it runs, but I think what we were very happy to see though was ZA looked great.
Dude, ZA looked so good.
The Switch 2 version looked so good. I did not, I guess, understand how the 2D games worked in terms of frames, because I didn't think about frames back then.
Neither did I.
But apparently people are saying, and I don't know if this is like a troll or being serious.
No, it's true. It's true.
Emerald was the last game to run at a smooth 60 because everything else like was not a smooth 60. And I guess now thinking about it, I can kind of like visually see Emerald running at 60.
Emerald always felt faster, and I could never pin what it is.
Emerald was very fast. And at this point, now with the Switch 2 being as strong as it is, you can't go back. ZA, for, it doesn't look perfect, but it looked pretty enough. It ran smooth. For a Pokemon game, it ran smooth.
Yeah.
And not only am I very excited for ZA, like Nicole said, I'm excited to see how Scarlet and Violet gets better, but above all else, Sky now has to be, no pun intended, Mike.
Yeah, I was just saying.
Sky's the limit, I think, for Gen 10 now, because if they can do this with ZA and now they have the Switch 2 kit and they can work on it, the games have to at least run as good as that, honestly.
Yeah. Well, and I also think, again, not to keep giving passes to Game Freak, because I do think that they've dropped the ball many times, and I will call them out, as much as a Pokemon lover as I am. I will call them out when necessary. But I do think they were kind of fighting an uphill battle because the Switch was just so limited.
Yeah.
And in their defense, I will give them this. They completely reworked their entire Pokemon formula. Because Sword and Shield honestly ran okay. Aside from the wild areas, Sword and Shield actually ran fine. They completely rewrote their formula. They did the open world thing for the first time. I give them a very small pass for that because it was new to them. But now it's like you have no excuse. Like the Switch 2 is, look at Metroid. And also, I mean,
That's why it's like when Gen 10 comes out, like they can put out anything, people buy it.
Of course.
But for $80. But I do think the excuses sort of end at Gen 10 if the game looks like Scarlet and Violet,
I think they know that too. Like I think in the back of my mind, or back of their mind rather, they know Scarlet and Violet had some record sales, but also bad reception.
Yeah.
And I think,
I don't think it's gonna impact sales. I just mean more like people being like, oh, if they had a stronger console, it'd run better. I'm like, well, here it is. Like,
yeah. So then what's the excuse?
We've seen really good games already.
If it runs like shit again, it's like, all right, well, you can't blame the Switch. So I'm very excited for ZA. First of all, when that Mega Stone happened on the Ampharos, I was like, Ryan loves Mareep, so Ryan's definitely excited.
That's his main.
That's his main. But I like almost cried a little bit because it was like, I remember this exact animation on my 3DS.
Yeah.
Or on my DS, whatever. I think it was 3DS it came out on, right?
Yeah.
I was like, I remember this exact animation and it looked like shit back then. But it was a 3DS, so who cared? But at the same time, it was like really cool seeing it in like
Yeah.
60.
I'm curious, not to get into this, just a quick thought. I'm curious how looking Pokemon Champions, if that's on
Yes.
the Switch too.
Yes.
But don't dive into that. It's pretty good.
All right, quickly, we have to talk about the Donkey Kong game. So what do you guys
Yes.
think about the Donkey Kong game?
I think it looks great. I saw two different theories. One theory is that this game was modeled after Odyssey, because when you look at this game in the trailer and also
It looks like
especially,
Odyssey.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
very Odyssey. So the two theories that I'm seeing, and I don't know which one I believe more, is this was meant to be a 3D DK game. This was the plan, and it was going to be designed after Odyssey, or they were making an Odyssey 2 and we're like, you know what? We want to go fully open world for the next Mario, but we want to kind of use like some of the ideas we have. Let's turn this into the 3D DK game, because I could see either scenario being true, because this game looks great, great animations. He's collecting the golden bananas like they're the moons. I saw one screenshot where he can trade in like fossils for costumes like Odyssey. You know, it has a lot of bananas in each area like the moons. It feels very Odyssey coded, which is a great thing, because I think Odyssey is an amazing game, and I have good hopes for this DK game.
My theory is I think the next Mario game is not going to be Odyssey 2. I don't think that I like the concept. Like, I like that theory. I don't think that's what happened. Like, I don't think they started the game and then said, oh, we'll just make it DK and then start over for Mario. I just think that they said, hey, we know Odyssey was really popular. Let's just reskin another Odyssey with Donkey Kong, because that's also why I did predict that a 3D Donkey Kong was coming, because I've been seeing the signs over the last year. You know, the DK game's always on sale. They've been promoting DK. DK got that whole rework. Like, why would you rework a secondary character? Like, you don't put that much effort into that kind of thing. So I do believe that this was designed as a DK first game, but I think they were like, we can't quite do exactly what 64 did. Let's just copy Odyssey. And then I think the new Mario game is just going to be a completely new thing. Like Galaxy to Odyssey to Sunshine. Like, I think it's going to be a whole new gimmick, which I'm fine with, because I liked Odyssey. I don't feel the need for a second one personally. As far as the DK game goes, it looks fun. It's also one of the only main series games coming out this year, which might entice me a little bit. I don't know. What about you, Mike?
Okay, I think the game looks bananas.
Bonanza.
Bonanzas. But for all the people complaining that, oh, we didn't get our Mario Odyssey 2, we didn't get whatever else, this is Odyssey 2. Like,
Yeah.
I honestly think that's a fact. Whether it's like, oh, they meant it for it to be Mario, it's Donkey Kong now, or the ground up Donkey Kong, like whatever the reason, this is the game people wanted, and they're just mad DK's there for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I saw the treehouse. Looks very good. Looks very unique. It does have like that Odyssey feel of like exploring like some kind of world and collecting a thing. But that's nothing new. You know, DK did his side scrollers just like Mario did, or vice versa, whichever one came first. But at the end of the day, this is sort of what people wanted in a skin of what they didn't want, which is sort of weird, I feel. My personal take, I'm very excited for it. I would get this for $80.
Yeah,
But,
well, it looks like this is going to be 70.
Yeah, it looks like this will be 70, exactly.
Which brings us back to the whole thing where I do think there's going to be some dynamic pricing, so I think it's going to be kind of on a game-to-game basis. And the last thing I just want to say, not to, because I want to go fully back to that topic, but this is a perfect example of it.
Yes.
If they're going to do dynamic pricing, for me, it's just going to be, I'm going to have to be more limited for what I buy. You know, I used to be somebody where it's like, this game looks kind of fun and I'm bored, so I'll just pick it up for like 40, 50, 60 bucks. If everything's going to be 70 plus, I just can't do that. So I'm just going to be a little bit more picky choosy. I'm going to share my carts around with you guys, with my boyfriend. Like, I'll share around a little bit. But yeah, like, this looks like a game I could spend $70 on. If they do Princess Peach Showdown 2, no, sorry.
That's not $70.
All right, so we kind of went through most of the games, right? Oh, I guess the other thing is the GameCube. We have to talk about GameCube coming. Oh, and Metroid. We skipped Metroid. Let's start with Metroid. You guys go with Metroid. I don't really have much to add other than it looks pretty.
If anybody, by the way, if anybody has not seen the Treehouse, you have to go watch this on the Treehouse. This game, and I'm sure, 2 years from now, I'll have to change these words, but the gameplay and the cutscenes combined this might be on Switch 2 the best looking game Nintendo's ever put out.
Yeah.
It is stunning. The cutscenes, I texted Nicole, Mike, I'm like, this does not look like a Nintendo system. This looks either like a movie or like a PlayStation 5 cutscene. These were amazing cutscenes. The gameplay was smooth. The fact that you can play on either graphics mode, which I think is like the 4K mode at 60 FPS, which is already great, or you can go on performance mode and go 120 FPS, and it still will look amazing. I mean, this game will be a hit.
Yeah.
I think people are very excited. I think Metroid has also gone through a big revival lately with Prime 1 Remaster, with Metroid Dread. It's gone through a bit of a revival in the last few years, Metroid, which I'm very happy about. I'm very excited for this game. There's no release date. It's 2025. I'm going to assume this is like a winter title. Day one for me. I am very excited for this game.
Yeah, the game looks really, really good. I just agree with Brian on everything basically. It's funny because Nintendo's always felt like they had these training weights on that they put on themselves, being like, okay, like we're gonna make this game look really good with our low performance console, right? Now it's like, oh, now they got this really good system. Like, yeah, maybe not PS5 good, but for what they've been working with, it's like now they can really shine with it. And it seems like they're already coming out of the gate swinging, and Metroid's the prime example of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I have really to add. I'm very much looking forward to it as well.
Yeah, I mean, they obviously a lot of developers believe in this because, you know, we could sit here and go through this entire list of even third-party titles. So, like, the fact that we're getting Elden Ring, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Street Fighter, I mean, those are titles that, like, those are heavy hitter titles. Not only just because they're popular, like, those games are massive. Yeah. Rendering distance, graphic quality. I mean, Street Fighter, like, as you guys know, a fighting game it has to run really well for a fighting game.
Yeah, that needs to be at 60 frames.
That needs to be a solid 60 frames, otherwise people will not play that. So the fact that, you know, these developers are all in and they're publishing these games right off the bat, I think shows you that, one, developers are supporting and behind the Switch 2 and they believe in it, and two, the Switch 2 might actually just be what it's been caked up to be in all these leaks. One other thing I wanted to talk about really quick regarding the games is the GameCube coming to NSO. I mean, this was kind of, we knew this was coming. Not that I'm surprised. I think we all thought it was going to come last generation because they kind of hinted towards it like early on in the Switch lifetime. I believe they even said Melee was coming, and that just like never came through. I'm excited for it, especially because they had Coliseum and cool. XD. Because those games, I don't know if you know, but I think XD is like $250 and Coliseum's like $150 or something.
God.
So as somebody who, I borrowed Ryan's XD and I played a little bit of Coliseum, I'm excited. And just really quick, what TV Skull's saying, which is Brian. Hello, Brian.
Hello.
I'm so excited that there's finally a relatively reasonable way for the younger audience to experience it. Yeah, because not only do these kids have to buy a $250 game, they also have to buy a GameCube, or they have to emulate it. And like, let's face it, most kids these days are not going to do that. So
yeah, that's why it's just smart on Nintendo's part. You have a system that's like good for the GameCube now, which is funny to say.
Yeah.
But this is the perfect time to do it. You have your new system.
That's crazy.
Games for it. Just put it out there, and now you don't have to worry about scalpers or whatever. People selling the games at $100. You don't have to worry about emulators. Just here's the game, and people are gonna go for that option, right?
Yeah.
It comes with the online subscription, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and they're great Pokemon games. I also wonder, in the back of their minds, is this a way for them? I mean, maybe this might be straight copium. Are they testing it out to see how well those games will be, like how many times that game will be played, to see if they should bring something like that back, or is that just like pass all?
I think that's copium.
That might be copium.
You never know.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I'm very happy to see GameCube. I mean, we're all big GameCube fans here. GameCube was my first system, so I have so much nostalgia for it.
God, you're a baby.
That's my baby.
Only 21. 20. Sorry.
I think we knew, like you guys were saying, I think we knew it was coming to Switch 2, GameCube Virtual Console. I just didn't think it was going to happen this soon. Now, only 3 games at launch. Obviously, they're going to drip feed that, probably like a game or 2 a month. They'll probably slowly grow up the library, which they'll do over time. Going to start with Wind Waker, Soul Calibur, and F-Zero GX, which are all good choices. But we saw, like Nicole said, they're going to have Coliseum, XD, Sunshine, Strikers, Chibi Robo, Fire Emblem. Those are all going to come. I guarantee you they're going to add, like the original Pikmin. They'll probably add like Luigi's Mansion, Paper Mario. So they're going to add a lot of games. The interesting thing that I will say as well is that Nintendo just got through a whole year of remasters. And for
Yes.
a long time, the remaster that was teased was that they finally going to bring over the Wii U ports of Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD. I would this be like an argument that they're not going to do that now, that you can play Wind Waker on the virtual
Yeah.
console? Because Nintendo could charge. We know that they'll do this. They'll charge you for remasters every day of the week.
They
till
remastered Wind Waker already, didn't they?
for Wii U.
Remaster again this time. The third remaster.
I don't think you're gonna see that.
Right, because you can now just play
you could
Wind
just
Waker
play it on there.
original.
Yeah, I think half the reason for a remaster is not just to like get money again because it's a popular title. Usually, you're making it available again for a younger audience that didn't have it. So like Fire Red Leaf Green was printed because Pokemon blew up and you couldn't get your hands on a Game Boy Color anymore. You couldn't get those Pokemon. There was like no way to get Pokemon from Silver and Gold up to Ruby and Sapphire because the color couldn't connect with the Advance. So they had to remaster it, and of course it prints money because it's Kanto. But I mean that's generally why you remaster something, because enough time has passed where that and also Brian brings up a good point. Wind Waker absolutely aged well. Like that's the other thing too, is out of all of the games, it's the same thing with Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, right? Like I know the remaster looked great, but that game held up very well.
Yeah, it did.
So go ahead.
But speaking of GameCube games, because I know we only have a few more minutes, maybe the surprise of the Direct, actually, because you could argue this could have been a GameCube Virtual Console game, was Sakurai's new project.
The Kirby Air
Ride.
Which is, and I don't think anybody saw that coming. Like Nicole said, we didn't know about DK. We didn't know about a couple of other things. Kirby, I mean,
that was the best surprise. Direct. I'm sorry, DK.
When I saw like Kirby Star Animation, a lot of people were like, "Oh my god, it's Smash!"
I thought so too.
Yeah.
Like it's too soon. It's not Smash yet, but it's maybe a new Kirby game. I can accept that. That's fine. I like Kirby. It's fine. But then you see like the jet pop in. I'm like, they're not bringing back.
I said they're baiting me. They want me to think it's Air Rider, but it's going to be Smash. I said it's going to be Smash, and I was like, oh no.
And this was the project that Sakurai's been working on for the past couple of years. It's coming out this year as of right now. I'm very excited for it. I actually never owned Air Ride. I borrowed it from like the library.
Yeah, I borrowed it too.
And people Air Ride is, I think, like a very big like cult classic. Like it obviously never sold very well, but like everybody loves Air Ride, and especially people love the city trial battle mode.
Yes, yeah.
So I am very excited for Air Ride to come back.
Can I just say, I'm actually, not that I'm complaining, because I actually really enjoyed Air Ride. The fact that they're going to put Air Ride and Mario Kart in the same Direct as announcements, though, did throw me off. Which is why I didn't initially think it was Air Ride, because I'm like, why are you going to advertise two of your biggest IPs that are both racing games, like in the same? It just felt a little unlike Nintendo. I mean, I know they're not the same thing.
Funny enough, I don't think they step on each other's toes too much.
I mean,
we haven't really seen Air Riders, but you are right, where it's the same genre, really.
It's just they're both racing games. I know they're different, but I'm excited for it. One more thing I wanted to talk to you guys about before we wrap up. And Mike, if you have to step out, I'll just finish it up with Ryan. I don't want to keep you around. If you gotta go, you gotta go. But one last thing I wanted to talk about was the game key stuff. Have you guys kept up with any of the drama with the game keys?
To.
Ryan, have you?
At first, I don't think I understood. I think you explained it to me better, and obviously you've been doing some research, so you can explain it well now. I think the uproar, like a lot of things, is a little unwarranted and people are kind of overreacting. It's not perfect, but I think I understand it a little bit better now.
Okay, so just for anybody watching, I just want to explain the game key drama, because this has been the worst misinformation I think I've seen. So the game key is basically, it's a cartridge that you buy. It's a physical cartridge. Let's just say you want to go buy Mario Kart, and you buy the cartridge and you put the cartridge in. The game doesn't exist on the card. The game actually, you have to download from the eShop. So you're downloading a digital file, obviously, but you need the key to do it. And you can only play the game with the cartridge in, although the game doesn't live on the cartridge. So essentially what it is just like old school PC games, like for World of Warcraft, for example, where you buy the disc and like it just downloads it from the server. I guess not super old school, but I think they started doing that in like Cataclysm or MoP.
Yeah.
So everybody was freaking out, being like, "Oh, physical media, it's dead," because you always have to. And at first, I was upset too, because I was like, "Why am I gonna pay? Why am I gonna pay a premium to get a physical product, and it's still not even on there?" Which defeats the purpose of the fact that if I buy physical, I get to keep it. It turns out that it's not every game, and it's actually up to the developer to figure it out. Because some games, like for example, Bravely Default is like 11 gigabytes or whatever, which is like that'll easily fit on one of these cartridges. That's not a problem. Versus something maybe like Elden Ring or Bloodborne or something that, you know, the files are huge. Maybe it doesn't fit on there and they have to do a digital download.
Yeah.
But it also comes out to like, if you have an 11 gigabyte file, why are you going to pay for this like higher end Express CF card or whatever this is, SanDisk, for your 11 gigabyte file game? So what they do is they just have a key card in there so that it'll download it digitally. It's still upsetting, but it's not every game, and it's up to the developer's discretion, not Nintendo's.
Yeah, I think they definitely need to clear up the misconception there.
Yes.
Because I don't know how much research you did to find it out, but
It's not clear. I did a
Yeah.
lot of research today. It's not clear.
yeah, I feel I know you did. I feel like you need to really dig for that information. And even during like the direct, they sort of like made a big deal of being like, oh, we have these cool game cards now that could like transfer media fast between the card and the system. And it's like now you find out that not every game has that, and you don't know which games do, which games don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, strange.
It's confusing. But all right, we have to wrap this up. So just to end it, what are your guys' plans? Are you buying the bundle? Did you pre-order it?
Yeah, this question was written for me. This is day one for me. I will move. I will do what it takes to get this on day one. I'm getting Switch 2 on day one, getting Mario Kart on day one. I was gonna try to buy the bundle, realize that very simply my Nintendo account, even though I use the eShop all the time, is tied to my college email, and I thought I got rid of all my college email stuff, and apparently not. And I can't buy the bundle because I have to verify my old email. So now, with Mike and Nicole's guidance, I probably need to call Nintendo, say to them, "Hey, my old email is kind of locked, can't get it anymore. I need to change my email. Can you guys do that for me?" So then I will buy the bundle. So long story short, we'll get it day one. I will try to get the pre-order through Nintendo to do the register for the bundle.
Mm-hmm.
If I can't, I will then go through GameStop or Best Buy. I'll get it somehow. But yeah.
Yeah, it might even be better to go through a retailer. Probably more
Maybe.
reliable, to be honest.
Well, and that pre-order goes up earlier as well.
Yeah.
Mike, I'm assuming you're getting the bundle?
Yeah, I'm getting the bundle. It's like I know I'm like such like I don't want to pay $500.
And nobody wants to pay it.
That's
Nobody
what
wants to pay it.
I know. But the thing is, it's like the Switch is not going down in price anytime soon.
It's not.
And if it does like what the 3DS did, where it's like it dropped because no one bought it, then it's like, all right, then we just get like a free game or something out of it for it dropping. You know, like there's no downside to getting it now. And I don't see Nintendo coming out with like faulty systems or anything like that either.
Yeah, no.
So
Xbox
it's really like
rings.
like if you're gonna get a Switch, might as well get it soon. And like I know I have like a wedding coming up and everything, so
yeah,
like,
that's true. Yeah,
want to drop like $500, but it's okay. We'll share it.
I was just gonna say you guys can share. So only spend $250.
Yeah, only $250. That's how I'm justifying it. Every game's $40. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, that's what I told Alex.
But
yeah,
I'm gonna get it.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I think we're all in the same boat. I'm gonna get it. I'm treating the Nintendo pre-order as a backup. I'm still gonna try to get it through a retailer. You know, and Alex doesn't have access. We didn't get to talk about it, but that anti-scalping pre-order plan from Nintendo, I really like. But unfortunately, if you're not the head of a family account, you don't get access to that.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I have my own account, so I get to do it, but he can't. So I might end up using my Nintendo pre-order for him. But all right, I know we have to wrap this up, so I just want to thank you guys so much for watching. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Next Thursday is going to be my other podcast, the Pokey app, but we'll be back in 2 weeks with Get Blueshelled, Thursday 8 p.m. Eastern time, and I don't know what we're going to talk about. Probably Xenoblade a little bit.
Yeah,
Sure.
we'll find
and the Mario Kart World Direct. But yeah,
that'd probably be the big one.
thank you guys so much for watching.